Most people never build the chest they're training for, not because they don't work hard enough, but because they're doing the wrong things. The chest is one of the most trained muscle groups in the gym. It's also one of the most poorly developed, because most people rely on exercises that don't optimally target the pectoral muscles, use ranges of motion that limit muscle stimulation, and ignore the anatomy of the chest entirely. The result is years of bench pressing that builds shoulder and tricep strength, but not the chest development most people are actually after. In this video, I'll show you how the chest muscles actually work, the most common training mistakes that limit your development, what the science says about the most effective exercises and technique adjustments, and exactly how to structure your chest training for maximum growth. The pectoralis major has two distinct regions, the clavicular head, or upper chest, and the sternocostal head, which makes up the bulk of the mid and lower chest. Each region responds best to different movement angles. The upper chest is best targeted by incline pressing movements, angles between 30 and 45 degrees. The mid and lower chest responds best to flat and decline pressing, as well as fly movements that emphasize the horizontal adduction function of the chest. Most gym programs are heavily flat bench dominant. This means the upper chest is almost always underdeveloped, creating a chest that looks flat and lacking fullness at the top. Balanced chest development requires intentional targeting of both regions. Mistake 1. Not feeling the chest during pressing. This is the most universal chest training problem. During bench press, if you feel your shoulders and triceps more than your chest, you're not effectively recruiting the pectoral muscles. The fix is technique, specifically maintaining a slight retraction of the shoulder blades, keeping the elbows at roughly 45 to 75 degrees from the torso rather than fully flared, and consciously squeezing the chest at the top of each rep. Mistake 2. Skipping the stretch. Research consistently shows that training muscles through a full range of motion, particularly with a strong stretch at the bottom, produces greater hypertrophy than partial range training. For chest, this means lowering the bar or dumbbells to full stretch at the bottom of every press and fly. Most people cut the range short to move more weight. Mistake 3. Neglecting the upper chest. As mentioned, flat pressing dominates most programs, but the upper chest is a significant portion of the pectoral muscle and requires direct incline work to develop. 1 or 2 incline movements per session, incline dumbbell press, incline flies, or incline cable work, is sufficient. Mistake 4. Never using fly movements. Flies allow the chest to work through horizontal adduction, the primary function of the pectoral muscle, without the tricep being a limiting factor. A combination of pressing and fly movements produces more complete chest development than pressing alone. A 2020 EMG study comparing chest exercises found that dumbbell flies produced higher pectoral activation than barbell bench press, particularly in the stretched position. The study also found that incline dumbbell press at 30 degrees produced the highest upper chest activation across all tested exercises. Research on range of motion consistently supports training through the full stretch for maximum hypertrophy. A 2021 study by Goto et al. Found that full range of motion produced 10% greater hypertrophy than partial range training in the pectorals over a 10-week period. For frequency, the chest responds well to being trained twice per week, 1 heavier pressing session and 1 session with more emphasis on flies and cable work produces more balanced development than 1 heavy session per week. An effective chest session includes 1 incline pressing movement for upper chest, 3 to 4 sets in the 6 to 10 rep range, 1 flat pressing movement for overall mass, 3 to 4 sets, 1 fly or cable crossover movement for isolation and stretch, 3 sets in the 12 to 15 rep range. Focus on feeling the chest throughout every rep, not just moving the weight. Use a weight that allows full range of motion, and make sure incline work is always included, not just flat bench. Subscribe, new video every Sunday.